Okay, sit yourself back, sit yourself onto a lift and just come into a good cross-leg position. And have a little wriggle about. Just make sure that you're sitting evenly. Just hold on to your knees. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Just feel that you are sitting evenly. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Look at something that doesn't move on the floor so that your eyes stay still in the sockets. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Push the palms firmly together. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Continue to focus on the sensation of filling the lungs and emptying them. And with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Lift your chest up to meet your chin. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Spend a moment just to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. Just from dwelling upon something within your life that brings you positive energy. Very gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area. Bring the tips of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb, a gesture of wisdom, of peacefulness, of physical intelligence. And then raise your head and allow your eyes to softly open. Hold on to your knees. Pull against the knees and lift the heart area, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs and shoulders across. Your Just listening to the sound of the inhalation and the exhalation. Come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest. Take a deep inhalation. And then turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. And then come back to the center. Just come off your lift and then sit back on your heels. So come down onto your knees, big toes together and your knees apart. Now if you've been on a long walk, this position is a really good one for returning energy back into tired legs. So virasana is a really good position to sit in if your legs are tired. So after a long walk, sitting in virasana is useful. You can always use something around the back of the knees. You can pull a blanket into the back of your knees just to give you space in the knees if there's discomfort in your knees. But just sit back on your heels for a moment, wriggle into the inner heels. So just wriggle into the inner heels, drawing the outer buttock down into the inner heel. Push your shins consciously into the floor so that the thighs activate and elevate the heart area up to the ceiling and come forward. Hinging at the hips, wriggling into the heels, pushing the palms away, sitting back on the heels as you come forwards, trying to keep the seat bones down. And then bring the forehead down. If bringing your forehead down makes you lose contact between the seat bones and the heels, then put a block underneath your head. In fact, if you've got a block handy, just put a block underneath your head anyway, and then see how that block underneath the forehead just changes the lift of the chest. So sometimes when we go down too low, the chest drops when you come down. So use the block just to find your way into the pose, keeping the seat bones down on the head. Applying some gentle pressure onto the forehead is a very effective way of quietening the brain. So keep sitting the seat bones down on the heels and stretching into the arms, keeping the arms straight. So no bent elbows, keep the elbows straight, squeezing the outer elbows in towards each other. Keep the palms really actively pressing into the floor. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up into a seated position. Just observe the energy in the chest. Observe the quietness of the brain. And then walk your hands behind you. I need to come forwards a little bit. Walk your hands behind you onto the mat. Palms flat on the floor, fingers pointing forwards towards your knees. Press your shins really consciously into the floor. Turn the tailbone in. Press the shins into the floor. Lift the seat bones up to the ceiling. Keep turning the tailbone in. Lifting from the wrists into the armpits. Lifting the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin. Extending into the chin, so a little paryangasana variation. Lifting from the wrists into the armpits, pressing the shins consciously into the floor. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And then bring the seat bones down towards the heels. And then just come back up into just sitting back in virasana. Just observe how after a little while your legs really adjust into virasana. Just observe the energy of the upper body, and then move the block out the way if it's there. Have your hands as wide apart as the mat with your little fingers touching the edge of the mat. Turn your toes under. Have your feet as wide apart as the mat. And then come up into Adho Mukha Virasana. Dog down. Push the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Listen to the sound of the breath. Fill your lungs from the bottom to the top. Empty your lungs from the top to the bottom. Just feel how inverting the body slightly, how it activates the legs in a different way, how it stretches out the chest, how it brings the organs into an inversion, or a partial inversion anyway. Keep breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath, feeling that you can really activate the legs, pushing the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs to stretch into the spine. Press the palms into the floor, lift up into the seat bones, tighten the kneecaps, press the fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs, turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Get a couple of blocks for your hands and bring your feet as wide apart as your mat. Feel that look to see that the toes are in line with each other, and feel that your heel is on the edge of the mat. So feel that the heel is touching the edge of the mat, drawing your sensitivity into the skin. Lift up into the chest, wing the elbows back, elevate the heart area up to the ceiling, and then come forwards, hinging at the hips, keeping the legs straight, kneecaps tightened, the spine extending away from the hips, and then find the blocks. Again, it's dog down legs, it's Tadasana legs. So tighten the kneecaps, press the fronts of the thighs up towards the tops of the legs, and then press the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards to give you space at the seat bones, to lift the seat bones away from the backs of the thighs. Project into the chin and the chest, extending the spine away from the legs, hitting the legs away, extending the spine away. Hitting the legs away from the spine, hitting the spine away from the legs. Just spend a little time inside the pose, observing your balance of action. Don't go down too soon, or go down lower too soon. See if you can really observe how you're working first. If you can go down lower, and if you've got a bad back, just stay at the higher lift if it feels like it's aggravating your back. Just breathing in consciousness with the pose. Elevating the heart area away from the backs of the thighs, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. Bring your hands into your hips and then come up into a standing position. And then come into Tadasana. Just be in Tadasana. Spend some time in the pose just observing how the body feels. Observing how the energy of the legs perhaps have woken up, how they feel a little different. So if you've been on a long walk, then your legs, maybe after being in virasana, after straightening them in dog down and uttanasana, you feel different. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, tuck the tailbone in, draw the belly button to the spine, lift up into the chest. Turn the palms all the way out, rotating the upper arms in the sockets. Breathe from the bottom of the lungs to the top. Empty your lungs from the top of the lungs to the bottom. Bring your arms out nice and wide, palms facing the floor. In towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet apart for trikonasana. Turn the left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out. Just spend a moment just orientating yourself on the mat, just feeling where this front foot is in relation to the back foot. See if you can bring the heel in line with the instep of the back foot. Have a quick look, make sure that's the case. Turn really consciously this front leg from the big toe side to the little toe side, and do the same with the back leg. So turn the legs consciously inwards, keep rotating that right leg as you reach over, find the shin. Keep doing that with the back leg as well, keeping that back leg really firm. Lift from the feet into the shins, into the knees, into the thighs, into the hips. And then extend from the hips up into the spine. If you can look up, then do. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Reach up, come back to the center. Swap the feet around, turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Again, just orientating yourself for a moment, just feeling that the heel of the front foot is in line with the instep of the back foot. Just feel that. Have a quick look, make sure that that's indeed the case. Adjust if you aren't quite in the right position. And then lengthen over to the left. Look up. Turning the front leg, that left leg, turning it from the big toe side, from the little toe side, so that the front buttock bone moves forwards. Activate the back leg in the same way, but hitting the leg to the wall behind you. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Sucking from the feet into the shins, into the knees, into the thighs, into the hips, and extending up into the spine, into the arms, into the neck, into the head. Lengthening into the toes, into the fingertips. Come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump the feet back together. And then come back to the center. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. So we're going to come into uttanasana, but uttanasana with the feet together. So even if you can normally reach the floor in uttanasana, you're probably going to need some lift underneath your hands. You might want to go really high with the lift. So if you've got a bolster handy, get the bolster and have the blocks on top of the bolster. So we can do this with our feet together, so there's much less kind of space in the hips. So have the inner edge of the feet together. Have the bolster and the blocks. You can always move them later, but it's good to be really high to start off with. Just be in Tadasana, lifting the legs into the hips, into the chest, into the head. Feel that the body is an arrow pointing to the ceiling. One of the most important elements of Tadasana for forward bending is the turning in of the fronts of the thighs, turning the thighs from the little toe side to the big toe side. If you're not quite sure how to do that, then bend your knees. Bend your knees, clamp the knees together, like you're going to go into uttanasana, and then keep the knees together as you straighten the legs. And it makes you turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. That's the action that we want. Just try it again. Clamp your knees together. Try and keep the knees together as you straighten your legs. You probably won't be able to, but you will turn the legs inwards. If you feel like you need extra space in your hips, keep the big toes together and just inch the heels away a little bit. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Lift up into the chest and then raise your arms. And then hinge at the hips, keeping your arms lifted as you do so. Come forwards, hinging at the hips, keeping the fronts of the thighs turning inwards. Try not to drop your arms because that makes you do this. Makes you round your back. So just come back a second. If when you come forwards with the hands first, then you're always going to just come forwards with your back and you're going to hurt your back. So the safer and more effective way of coming forwards is to do it like we do in uttanasana at the beginning, with your hands on your hips. So come forwards, keeping the front chest lifted, keeping the head lifted, keeping those thighs turning inwards, keeping the head lifted, keeping the back straight, and then having the blocks, just make sure that they're underneath your shoulders, and then be on the top of the blocks on the fingertips. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards consciously. Lengthen into the spine. So at this stage you can decide whether or not you need the bolster there. Go down to the blocks on the floor, but don't go all the way to the floor straight away. Just find your way in. Just feel what your body is doing for you today. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards and then pick up the seat bones, project the chin and the chest forwards. If you can go down lower, then do, but not at the expense of rounding the back or bending the knees. Keep those legs straight. Legs straight, that's the priority. Just use whatever you need to to keep the legs straight, to keep the back straight. If you can reach down to the floor, then do. So my back today, I kind of feel like this is my kind of maximum today. Often I can, moving into the full pose, so you bring your fingertips in line with the toes, and then you bring the palms all the way down. But all the time keeping the spine lifted and long, keeping the legs straight. For me today, the floor feels like it's doing everything that it needs to. So lifting from the feet into the shins, into the knees, into the thighs, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. And then bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into, just into Tadasana. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. So just observe how the body is feeling, how the body has maybe warmed up, how the physical body feels right now. Okay, and then come down onto the back. We're going to stay with the bolster, and then I want you to have the bolster for underneath you. We're going to create a little bit of a ramp. So have a block flat on its flat end like this, and then a tall block underneath or beyond it, and then you've got this, and then you rest your block along to make sure that the blocks are secure, and then you've got some space for coming back. Then get your blanket, your folded blanket. It's ensuring that it's evenly folded, and then have that at the top. And then we're going to come into supta baddha konasana. Again, another really good pose if you've been on a long walk, just giving yourself all this space in the hips. You're going to sit close to the bolster, not necessarily right on top of it, maybe an inch or so away, depending on how bulky your bolster is, and then guide your spine along the bolster, and then have the folded blanket underneath the back of your neck and your head. If this is uncomfortable for your hips, then you can put some blocks on the outsides of the thighs. Otherwise, just lengthen the spine up along the bolster, just finding the openness of the chest. Fill the lungs from the bottom to the top. Empty them from the top to the bottom. Fill your lungs from the bottom to the top, feeling the chest expand with the in-breath, and emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom, allowing the chest to relax with the out-breath. So bring your consciousness into the breath. Observe how the breath brings energy into the physical body, how the breath requires a little bit of focus for the in-breath, and an almost entire relaxation with the out-breath. So fill your lungs like you're filling a jug of water from the bottom to the top, and empty your lungs like you're emptying a jug of water. You empty a jug of water from the top to the bottom. Just observe which breath is longer, the out breath or the in breath. So just continuing to observe the breath, letting the body relax into the shape of supta baddha konasana. Just focusing on the movement of the breath. Just listening to the sound of the breath. Okay, and then when you're ready, just push your hand into the floor, lift the chest, try not to poke your head forwards, and then come back up into just baddha konasana, holding the feet, holding the toes, lifting up into the chest, feeling that you can elevate from the abdomen to the diaphragm to the collarbone to the chin without lifting the head, just feeling that you can lift the spine out of the legs, draw the shoulders away from your ears. Just continuing to breathe evenly, just listening to the sound of the breath. And then just get hold of the knees and stretch your legs out in front. So this next pose, again, really good if you have been on a long walk, if you've been for a hike or whatever. This isn't for everyone. Not everyone will enjoy this particularly, but it's really good for refreshing tired legs. So it's supta virasana. And we're going to stay with the supta virasana on the lift like this because you'll find it easier to come down. You can do this on the flat. You can do it all the way down onto the floor without the bolster underneath you at all. But having this lift here will kind of ease you into the pose more efficiently. So if you've got really bad knees, then this can be, well, it can either be a really nice release or it can be too strong on your knees. And if you're uncertain of your knees, it's probably better to kind of work on the edge of caution. You can, if you've got bad knees, you can bring or stiff knees, you can bring a belt into the back of your knees. You can have one belt for each knee if you've got two belts, and then you pull the belt away, and then the knees are together, the feet are apart, and then you sit back like this, pulling the belt away, and then you can release it, and it just gives you space in the backs of your knees for a bit of additional support. So get the thumbs into the backs of the knees together, the feet apart, and then draw the backs of the calves away from the knees, rolling the calf flesh out to the side, keeping the knees together. And then come back onto your hands, lift from the abdomen to the diaphragm to the collarbone to the chin, and then come down along the lift. And again, have the block for the blanket for your head. If this doesn't work, then go back into supta baddha konasana, so the pose that we just did along the bolster. But this can be really beneficial for tired legs. I remember when I was kind of trekking through or on a backpacking holiday around Thailand and Vietnam, I think I'd set my backpack up incorrectly, and it had started to really aggravate my back. And so we were on the on the Mekong River, and on a boat going from Thailand to going from Cambodia to Vietnam, and I had to do this pose. I kind of just stretched along my bolster, and it really helped to ease discomfort in my back. It doesn't look like it would do, but it does. You've got to lengthen the tailbone away from the lumbar, drawing the buttock flesh away from the lumbar to keep the lumbar soft. Draw the belly button to the spine, and then just allow yourself to release into the pose. So whether you're doing supta baddha konasana or supta virasana, they're both effective poses for tired legs. So once you're there, whichever you're doing, go back to the breath, just feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top, just the first stage of Ujjayi Pranayama. Just breathing with consciousness, breathing with function. Listening to the breath. Just filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. If there are no problems with, if there are no heart conditions or reasons why you shouldn't hold your breath, so some lung conditions, some blood pressure issues, they dictate that you shouldn't hold your breath. So if you're not supposed to hold your breath, then just continue to breathe normally. Otherwise, at the top of the in-breath, just gently hold the breath for a second or two, just allowing the body to absorb the energy of the breath. And then with a normal out-breath, just exhale all the way. So that hold should be a moment of gentle retention. There's no grip in the diaphragm or around the chest or around the throat or around the head. Just a moment of retention where you're not breathing in nor breathing out, just letting the lungs absorb the energy within the breath. Never over holding, just letting it be natural. There should be no grip, no tension, no strain. Okay, just bringing the breath back to a normal rhythm. And then push your hands into the floor. Lift the chest. Come up into a seated position. And then from virasana, just come onto your hands. Just stretch your legs away. Your legs will be reluctant to straighten, whether you've been in dog down, in Adho Mukha Virasana or supta baddha konasana. Just gently turn the toes under, and then everyone come up into a gentle dog down. Just refreshing the energy of the legs, just slowly allowing the legs to straighten, pressing the knees through to the backs of the knees, pressing the thighs through to the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. And although we normally resist bringing the heels down after virasana, it feels really nice just to bring the heels down, stretching out the calves, just bringing energy back into the ankles. So the reason why we don't normally bring the heels down is generally apparent when you do this. You see those creases at the bottom of the shin and the top of the foot. That suggests that you're dropping your legs. So if you can lift the legs and remove those creases, then bringing the heels down is right for you. Otherwise, Bring the heels down now is good just to refresh the legs, but it's not right if you're dug down. Okay. Come down onto your knees and just come into cross legs. Just sitting in cross legs, holding onto your knees, lifting up into the chest. Drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Listen to the breath. Listen to the inhalation and the exhalation. And then turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen across. Ribs and the shoulders. Digging the back hand into the floor. Turning the abdomen and the chest. Turning from the abdomen, from the ribs, from the shoulders, but keeping the neck still, keeping the neck looking just directly forwards. And then gently come back to the centre. Hold on to your knees and then turn to the left, digging the back hand into the floor, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs across, your shoulders across. Just listening to the sound of the breath. And then very gently come back to the centre. Just get your bolster from behind you. Just move the blocks out of the way behind you. Have the folded blanket for underneath your head. And then just have the bolster where you can reach it in a moment. Just come down onto your back. Hold onto the edges of the mat. And then lengthen your legs up to the ceiling. Just stretching the legs up to the sky, just giving the body just a very gentle sensation of inversion. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Okay, bend your knees, bring your feet back down onto the floor. Get the bolster, put the bolster underneath your knees. If you haven't got a bolster, then you can just have some blocks underneath your knees, or you can just let your legs rest into the floor without the bolster. Doesn't matter. Guide yourself down. Make sure you're in a really good straight line. And then allow yourself just to completely release into the floor, letting the muscles of the arms and the legs detach from the bones. Allowing the physical body to become heavy. And then out of that heaviness comes a sensation of energetic lightness. Energetic lightness radiating from the bones. And filling the muscles with an energy that feels alive and radiant. Energy radiating from the bones and into the muscles and into the organs. Radiating positive energy into the organs. Just listening to the breath. And then when you're ready to disturb yourself, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, bring your body back into this pose of sirvasana. Bring your feet onto the bolster, have the feet apart and the knees together, just resting your back into the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your chest, have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll over onto your side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just cross legs with your hands in the masti. Final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And send some of that positive energy out into the world. Release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. A gesture of wisdom, of physical intelligence and of peacefulness that we can carry with us into our day. Gently raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just observing the clarity of the daylight around you. And then thank you very much for joining me. Good, so hopefully you feel like you have quietly opened up your energy and given yourself lots of good, positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.